Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha neder b'kodesh, Nora tehilot osei felem, Nora tehilot osei felem. Balechutecha ra'u vanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe, Ze'elianu ve'ameru, Ze'elianu ve'ameru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. So I stumbled a few weeks ago upon a website called tvtropes.com. It's a pretty niche corner of the internet. I don't imagine anyone here has ever heard of that website. If you have, I would be shocked. But it's a website, tvtropes.com, dedicated to breaking down all of the different narrative devices used in television and the movies. A trope is a tool that helps push the story along, like a chase scene in an action movie, a superhero with a fatal flaw, or the breakup from a rom-com that happens immediately before the happily ever after. Tropes are useful. They're not good or bad. Tropes help to simplify stories so we can identify familiar patterns. In Judaism, we have a very familiar trope that we say on holidays such as Hanukkah. Something like, they tried to kill us, we survived, let's eat. Now, that could describe Hanukkah, that could describe Purim, that could also describe Pesach. Half of our holidays deal with persecution. 75% of our holidays are about celebrating life. So persecution and survival are baked into our DNA, and baking might be as well because we do a lot of eating on all of these holidays together. All of these tropes about persecution and survival are also embedded in our Torah portion this week. The Torah portion, Miketz, picks up on Joseph's story 2 years after his imprisonment in an Egyptian prison. Pharaoh has a dream, and Joseph, we would know from the last week's Parsha, is pretty good as an interpreter of dreams. After the Pharaoh exhausted his search for an Egyptian to interpret his dreams, his cupbearer, his chief cupbearer, mentioned Joseph's prolific prophetic skills. We learn that Joseph's interpretations of dreams eventually all come to fruition. Joseph is so successful that Pharaoh places Joseph as second in command of all of Egypt, second only to Pharaoh himself. Joseph goes from persecution from his brothers and by the Egyptian upper class to second in command of Egypt, in charge of feeding all of Egypt. They tried to kill him, but he survived, and now everyone gets to eat. Using tools like tropes to identify patterns is a way that we connect our lives back to our ancestors. When we read the Hanukkah story, we start to see similarities between different generations of what Israelites then and what Jews today have endured. Hanukkah is an example par excellence. Our Maccabean ancestors were persecuted for wanting to be different, for insisting on living lives devoted to God at the exclusion of the Greek pantheon. The result was a bloody conflict in which a small militia of Judeans pushed out the powerful Greek Empire from the land of Israel. The story of Judah Maccabee and Hanukkah is a trope for Jewish resistance against assimilation. Now, thankfully, we don't live under the same threat as our ancestors once did centuries ago, or as many generations of Jews did not too long ago. Today is arguably the best time in Jewish history to be a Jew alive today. We still struggle, though, to maintain our Jewish identity in a world where we represent just a teeny tiny dot on the entire globe map of all of the people in the world. What has saved the Jewish people over our millennia is that our calendar, our holidays, our celebrations, our commemorations are built around the events that have tried us to our very limits. Even on days of mourning, we remember that we have overcome the enemies that sought our own destruction. It's not a coincidence that Hanukkah, Purim, and Pesach are some of the most enjoyed holidays. We can identify with breaking the shackles of oppressors because that is fundamental to our mandate as Jews. We are constantly reminded to look out for the weak and the vulnerable because we were once in their place, maybe only long ago in the memory of the Jewish people, or maybe in the actual memory of Jews today. The lights of Hanukkah are a symbol of our essential, existential stubbornness, to preserve our identity and our obligation to shine a light on the continuing persecution of others. To put it plainly, the stories of Hanukkah, Purim, and Pesach are the trope of, they tried to kill us, we survived, let's eat. And this should all compel us to stand beside other communities of minorities everywhere who struggle against evil people who would rather see them disappear. May the light of our Hanukkah candles shine as a symbol of our freedom and the work that we will do to ensure the freedom of others. We rise together, invoking the names of our ancestors who worked for their freedom, the words of the Amidah, page 164. Ufi agi tehilatecha, Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol Atah Rav Le'Hoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Baal Gevurot, Umido Melech, Melech Memit Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kdoshim b'chol yom yihalelucha selah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. As we pause for a few moments of silent prayer, because it is Hanukkah, and there is a special insert for Hanukkah that is read during the Amidah, as you pray your words silently, closing your eyes, or if you like to look in the Siddur for some words to inspire you, the traditional words of the insert that we say on Hanukkah is on page 556. If you would like to read those words for yourself, this is what would be said instead of a Thanksgiving prayer that would come within the Amidah. So if you want to peruse those words yourself, feel free. We're going to come back together on page 178. Yes.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam.
178.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
It is my pleasure to invite up member of our Board of Trustees, Bev Stahl, to give us some announcements of what is happening in the next few weeks of our somewhat quiet time, but still active time at Temple Emanu-El.
Happy Hanukkah, everybody.
Happy Hanukkah.
Do you hear the call to volunteer? Well, there are a number of opportunities right here at Temple Emanu-El. For example, there is the Community Assistance Center, Backpack Buddies, preparing sandwiches for the Mary Hall Freedom House, or other social justice activities. You can find a cause you believe in, connect with fellow congregants, and meet other people in the wider Jewish community. All this information is located on the Temple website and in pamphlets located in the lobby. Please check each Thursday the Kesher Quick and Monday event and programming emails for all upcoming programs. Tomorrow, Saturday, we have a special Hanukkah Tat Shabbat at 11 o'clock. If you're a college student home from school, during the holiday break, you're invited to have pizza with Rabbi Max and Rabbi Rachel on Tuesday, December 7th at Vintage Pizzeria. If anybody is new here this evening or visiting, we'd love to meet you. Come up and say hello. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Bev. And as we talk about all the good things that are happening, it's certainly